This is becoming a major problem for the Montreal Canadiens, as a ton of their secondary scores, the guys who are meant to put the puck in the back of the net, are having almost historic slumps for themselves. But Marty St. Louis has implemented a new strategy in practice today that's hopefully going to remedy that. We'll be diving into what that means for the Habs moving forward, plus a great Juraj Slafkovsky quote and a nice little clip from him just showing just even more how lovable he is and how much he was worth that number one pick. So stick around for this episode of Habs Digest. Let's jump into this Slafkovsky quote first. And, there's some negativity around him. More recently, it's been more positivity as he's been improving his play every single day. But there's still a lot of pressure on him, right? And you got to think for him, he's a guy who said the pressure sometimes gets to me, but at the same time, my gosh, he's quite humble and he knows where he comes from. And look at this. You love the game will love you. He said, we could be working 9 to 5 somewhere, but we're not. And we have the luck in life to do this. Juraj Slafkovsky and staying positive. I mean, we've seen his energy. We'll show you a clip later that shows it even more. We've seen his positivity and how much he wants to win and succeed with this team. I feel like the pressure, it maybe got to him, but he's improving every single day. And just to hear this quote, man, it's exactly the mentality that the Habs wanted when they drafted him.
And I love that first part of it. If you love the game will love you back. He's a young player, but I think, he's a very smart young man. And dare I say wise at the same time. Kind of sounds like Martin St. Louis a little bit there too. See to love game.
Yeah.
It's but anyway, the message is getting through loud and clear, but he's just that type of guy. He's actually a genuine guy. He's not just putting this on for the cameras either. It's this is the type of player that he is. He's just a carefree, happy-go-lucky type of guy that just happens to be really skilled at hockey. And he's starting to get his touches. He's starting to get better. But, it's all about keeping things in perspective, right? Because we always look at everything's in a vacuum with these players. But it's when you're playing as a GM, if that's your role, it's really the long-term game. And, Josh, I can't help but think of, players like Alexis Lafreniere right now, where it's a former first overall pick, where it's he got a lot of flack for maybe not producing as well for a long time. But guess what? Flash forward to this year, 11 points in 14 games, and people are singing very much a different tune. It takes time sometimes. It's really a process. If you get the touches, you get the goals, it sounds funny, but it is a process, and even from one of our favorite movies, Scarface will say that, first you got to get, the money, then the power, then the respect. It's there's a process. There's kind of a whole strategy to getting there step by step. And I think that Slap is right on the way to getting there.
Oh, we're full of references here today. Yeah, no, that is, it's a very good point. I mean, as we all know, big guys take a lot longer to develop than other, super high skill guys straight out of the draft. But, man, he has the right attitude. He has the skill set, as you're going to see in a minute. And again, he has the personality. Guys, don't forget Sean Monahan, who, remember, he got all these memes for being boring and for liking eating toast. He's I think Slap's going to be a lifelong friend. He's always so happy, so fun to be around. And when everyone is singing your praises like that, you got to think that there's only success to come. So really, really high hopes for Slaf. What a great quote. But we got to dive into sort of what's becoming a problem for the Montreal Canadiens. And it kind of sucks to transition from something positive to something negative. But it's the truth. As I'm going to flash up this tweet by Stu Cowan, he said, that was the first game against Calgary this season that the Habs have scored less than 2 goals. Lots of players in slumps. Anderson, Harvey, Pinard, 0 goals each. Slafkovsky and Evans, 1 each. In the last 13 games, there's none for Newhook after having 3 in his first 3 games. No goals in the last 11 games for Pearson. 1 goal in the last 9 games for Caufield. And that was the overtime winner. Jesse, a big problem with Montreal, at least for the last, I don't even know how many years, is the lack of top-level goal scoring. And while we have guys like Caufield and Suzuki who can definitely pop their goals, and this year Monahan too, who's playing really, really well, the secondary scoring is just not there. I mean, every single year we hope Josh Anderson can be that 25-goal guy, and last year he started to show, that this is kind of who he is, but this year, again, just nothing. He's missing the net, hitting crossbars. That secondary scoring's not there. Kirby Dach's not in the lineup. Pearson and Gallagher had pretty hot starts. Galley's still doing solid, but they're maybe not putting up the totals that we want. At what point does this become a concern for Montreal? Or are you kind of like me in the sense where it's we still got young guys, they're going to learn, if the vets aren't producing, it is what it is, because this is still a rebuilding year, but still, I mean, you gotta hope that they can at least put a little bit together to try and remain a little more competitive this year.
True, but that being said, it's I find it surprising how competitive we are in a lot of ways without that lack of that secondary scoring. Because you imagine how we're playing right now, which isn't bad, but imagine this team, but with, an activated Josh Anderson, with RHP getting those numbers we expect. Slap I'm not as worried about because he's getting those touches, and whereas Anderson, it's like he can't score. There's always been those issues about, him finishing, but he just gets to the net so much that even though he's not the best finisher, that he's still going to get his goal. So I really feel like it'll come around. But of course, players like RHP, contributing, those are the type of guys that we look for. Okay. A little bit more, even more than like Pearson, I would say, where I'm counting on him, to score even more so. So I think, once that kind of comes around, I think it'll be that much better for this team. But yeah, like we absolutely need that. But I think, it's just going to be a law of averages that a lot of these things will come around.
Yeah, you gotta hope so, right? Because I mean, think about it. Like Caufield was actually asked today, "Hey, like, what do you think about this kind of lack of goal scoring? Do you think it's a problem for you?" He's like, "Well, I had 8 shots on goal last night. I think they're going to start going in." And it's true. A lot of his shots would have gone in against any other goalie than Jacob Markstrom having a hot night. So the thing is, the Habs are getting their shots a lot of the time. They're just not going in. Anderson could have had a couple goals. He had a crossbar. He beat Markstrom, hit the crossbar, and one time Markstrom just robbed him blind out front of the net. These guys are getting their chances, and I think eventually they're going to start going in. But regardless, Coach Marty, Eric Engels was like, "Hey, Marty, like, do you think you can do a practice around finishing drills?" He said, "Not really," said Marty, "but hey, take a look at practice today. I don't know if you can see it there, but you have the goalie target set up, and we got a little video of Slafkovsky taking a couple shots too, just to give you a little bit of a positive vibe. The Habs are taking a lot of shooting practice here, and we got Slaf ready for these one-timers. Passes from Cole Caufield. 1, bang, top shelf. 2, bang. 3, oh my goodness, and now look how happy he is. Look how happy he is. And look at that tongue out there. This is the personality we're talking about. It's Josh Anderson on the right. Slaps it right into the middle of the net. But still, they're running shooting drills in practice, Jesse. And, Coach Marty, I think that's kind of cool that he can kind of hear a media suggestion. This is something he's done before. He'll hear it and he'll ponder it. And if he thinks, hey, you know what? I can modify this to help make my team better. He does it. And I think that's another big thing with him is not only is he a brilliant hockey mind, but he takes inspiration from all kinds of places to try and help his players. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that, like seeing this drill too, because like last night in the post game, I had said in the vid, it's like more important for Anderson to kind of get shots on net than trying to roof it every time and get the perfect shot. And then in the press game, in the press conference today, Marty was saying it's more important to really kind of get it off your stick and into an area than really just getting that perfect shot. So we see with in practice today where they're really doing that, having those targets and just focusing on getting the area, being precise, but more getting it on net, which I think is apropos, and at the same time, I love that they're encouraging Juraj Slafkovsky to shoot more, which is, something that I mentioned as well, on this show that we would love to see a little bit more. So Adam Nicholas putting in that time, using that a little bit more as a threat, that one-on-one, and everything, just kind of that follow through on the shot. So really nice to see that time. And obviously Slafkovsky, he can one time. He has a great shot. So we expect to see much more of that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how many times have we seen him in the game slamming his stick on the ice? Like, give me a shot for that one timer, and then he'll get it. And then it'll just be kind of like a weak shot, or he'll hit the goalie right in the middle of the pads. But the thing is, like, he has that shot. He's practicing that shot. And imagine a world where we have Slav as a lethal one-time threat from the opposite side from Cole Caufield. It's like, there's so much potential there for the future. And with as heavy a shot as he has, and with as silky hands as he has, like, again, it's just like this potential is there. He just got to work on the little things. Working on keeping the puck, working on keeping his balance, his decision making a little bit, because he has the size. He's starting to use it. His shot is there. And while the Habs goal scoring isn't that great so far, I think a lot of these young guys still have a ton of potential for the future. But that'll do it for this news episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're approaching 10,000 subs, and we're going to hit it. We'd love to hit it by the end of the season, so if you haven't hit subscribe yet, hit the button down below. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.